Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. We're live on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell, and you can enjoy weekdays live at 4 o'clock. The programme will look into all the emerging stories from the day and, of course, talk about football, some of your favourite players and managers, past and present. In the company of Alan Ruff today is Charlie, Adam and Tam McManus. Delighted to have them alongside us. You can give us your thoughts on football by just messaging us in the YouTube feed, or indeed you can download the PLZ Soccer app and go into submissions and we'll read out your messages from there as well. So lots of ways you can connect with us, but don't forget, by downloading the app you'll get all the latest breaking football news in the UK, Europe and across the globe as well. So before we get into the meat and bones of football that's on offer and look back at last night's Champions League as well, must mention from everyone in the football show, hopefully a speedy recovery for John Fleck. It was rather worrying, Charlie, that he collapsed last night on the pitch and the game was stopped, Sheffield United, for 10 minutes. Yeah,
I was watching the Blackpool game and I seen it come through, and I managed to get hold of one of the lads that I know there, and he was conscious and talking by the end. By the time he was back in the ambulance and going to the hospital, so he got discharged this morning, and hopefully it's nothing too serious. So hopefully he's at home recovering, and good, hopefully we could see him back in the pitch because he's a terrific player. Yeah, when you consider what happened at the Euros, when you get that long a delay, there is a real fear, not only in the stands, but suddenly if your family were watching it.
Yeah, I think the memories of what happened at the Euros was there for everybody to see, and I think there are more and more, and Charlie might know better than me, I know down in England there are more and more clubs putting their players through tests, like that, just not preparing for it, but just it's a sensible thing to do when you get very valuable players, to find out physically the things you don't see, if they're okay before the season starts.
It's a must in Scotland every 2 years that you have a heart scan.
ECG and stuff.
ECG. Yeah. I think we're due one as a group of players quite soon. We either go to Hampden or the doctor will come to the stadium. So in England, it was every 2 years. So it's listen, the SFA are on it as well. So it's good to know. But like I say, for Fleck, a young boy, 30 years of age, it's obviously a worrying sight for him being down for so long. But hopefully he can get over what it was and he can get back playing soon. Yeah, absolutely. Christian Eriksen, fresh in the mind from the Euros, but again, fingers crossed, John's certainly not as serious as Christian Eriksen, and he's back playing football. It is, of course, the most important thing, his health for his family and his long-term future. We wish him well. You must be the happiest guy on earth. I mean, some of the boys have been telling me about your commentary. I mean, honestly, you just lost the plot when Hibs go 3-0 up, didn't you?
I was just laughing. I couldn't believe it. I think most people would have fancied Rangers on the night, and Hibs blew them away in the first half an hour. So brilliant performance from Hibs in the first half. I know Rangers were poor, but I think they've got to give the plaudits to Hibs.
Were you surprised by their performance?
I was, simply because of the circumstances. I think they weren't playing well. I've been at the games and I'm coming in here every Monday and saying Hibs were been poor. Yeah. 4 defeats in a row, not played a game in 25 days. I thought they'd been rusty. I thought just stay in the game, but total opposite. Came out and blew Rangers away.
I did ask Ruffy if maybe Jack Ross, who's taken a bit of criticism, maybe should have been given more of the plaudits because did he tactically get it right? Was Boyle's deployment in the central area something that really caused Rangers problems?
Yeah, it was. It was a great tactical decision. I like Martin Boyle through the middle, and he very rarely plays him through there. He likes to play Boyle on the right hand side, but he played him through the middle with Nisbet, 2 up front. Got balls in behind the 2 centre-backs at Rangers, get them turning early doors, and they couldn't handle him. And not only his goals, but his all-round performance was superb, and Hibs thoroughly deserved to win the game.
Yeah, makes you wonder if the Doige fit, if they played a 4-3-3, just him playing off the two of them.
Well, Doige, Nisbet and Boyle last season were fantastic. I think most of Hibs' goals and assists came from those three. They were very heavily reliant on them, so Doige comes back in, and it'll be interesting to see if he gets a run out tonight up at Ross County. Yep.
At Ross County, of course, this is a game that is rescheduled, Charlie, and Hibs have got a chance now. I think if you're never going to get a lift from knocking Rangers out of the Cup, this is the perfect moment to try and get themselves back on track in the league, because as Tam has mentioned, they haven't looked great.
No, and listen, we're looking at Hibs trying to do us a wee bit of a favour tonight. We're 4 points ahead as Ross County, and if we can keep that going into the weekend. You know, we play Motherwell at home, so you look at it in a selfish way. But listen, going into the semi-final, I expected Rangers to win, but fair play to Jack and his team and the group of players. Rangers are so open that, you know, the fullbacks are so high. I think it's the only way you can play. You know, everybody wants to play football and get it done and pass it. At times you just got to turn teams, put it in a channel, allow them to chase it, because defenders don't want a defender. They don't want chasing their own goal or having to put it for throw-ins, and you've got to make it ugly for the old firm, because if you go and try and take them on man for man, and listen, Rangers and Celtic got better players, there's no doubt about that, so you've got to try and do a different way. And it worked for them, and they got the result, and it's going to be a great final. Yeah,
it's interesting that Charlie mentioned there a different tactic, because I think, you know, I think we can go back as far as 2011 when Barcelona win the Champions League again under Pep Guardiola, and remember they were dominating under Frank Rijkaard. This style of tiki-taka football that everybody loved, and suddenly, you know, everybody's trying to embrace a certain style, and now more than ever clubs are wanting you to play out from the back. They want to build it into midfield, then up front. Charlie's just mentioned there something that, you know, we tend to turn our noses up at, but sometimes there are many ways to skin the cat.
Certainly is, and you've got to have a good manager. You've got to have a good analyst team, you know, who are going to look at strengths and weaknesses, and you work on it. You work on it at training during the week, and if you're lucky, you get the turn on the Saturday or the Sunday, whenever the game is, and that's what happened. And we all like to see that kind of football, the way that they're doing. But you keep saying, and a lot of people keep saying, you've got to have the players to do it. You've got to have the players that are comfortable. You know, I've seen a lot of games where there's the goalkeepers in the 6-yard line now by kicks, and the centre half's coming and taking it off them. You know, you've got to have certain players that are happy to get the ball at that area of the park, and they're comfortable on it. So, yeah, tactics is a big part. You know, and we were highlighting the other day that Austin McPhee is the corner kick, free kick specialist. That just shows you how much the game's moved on.
Yeah, Kevin McManus says Boyle was just too good, and it shows you how poor Rangers have been, says John. That Hibs won so convincingly. I've kind of paraphrased that because he used his own language for that one. And Ronnie Porter's not happy with you. He says, Tam McManus, let's see when Hibs play Celtic in the final if they'll play in the face against Celtic as they did with Rangers.
I think they've got to. I think they'll play the exact same, you know, system, same, you know, way of playing, because as Charlie says, you've got to go and try and upset the old firm. You know, you've got to try and turn them. And Boyle, listen, there's a long way to go before then. I think both teams have got about 7 games before the final. So if both teams have got their strongest team out, if Hibs have got their strongest team out, I'd expect Boyle to play through the middle again and test the 2 Celtic centre-halves, because, like Rangers, 2 full-backs push forward.
But Ross County get at Hibs tonight. I've got Hibs to win 2-1. What about you?
I've got Hibs to win. I just think they'll get a massive boost for that performance. That's got to give them so much confidence. You know, if they go into that game on the back of a defeat, they're under pressure, but I just think they'll go up there and win. 2-1 for me.
Well, I'm hoping Hibs does a favour, so
yeah.
I'm hoping Hibs can get the job done.
Yeah, is there a psychological advantage and boost to the players if suddenly Ross County start to become detached? Would that ease it, or is it just you've got to keep battering on one game at a time, Charlie?
You just batter on one game at a time, but you've got to keep that gap. You know, there's no point in us thinking, you know, let's be honest, 4 points is better than 1 point. So, you know, you're always hoping whoever's playing below you, they get beat. And, you know, we'll be looking at this. It's a game that, you know, 2 weeks ago, Hibs were going to go up there with an under-strength team. And then you're thinking, well, Ross County have got a better chance of winning the game, because if they're at full strength and Hibs are at lesser, they've got a chance to win the game. It's down to 1 point. And you've got games coming. We had to play Celtic, and you're thinking you could win it. So we worry about what's going on in our own bit. And, you know, if Hibs get something tonight, it gives us an added incentive to the weekend to close the gap with the teams above us.
Yeah, okay.
No, I'm going to say the Premiership, you need to be looking at what's behind you, but you also have to look at what's above you, because there's a playoff place. And a lot of teams in the Championship will fancy themselves against the team that's second bottom. You know, and so you've got to try and get away for the 2 at the bottom.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to try and get up and put other teams above you under pressure as well, not to be in that second bottom place.
Yeah. Couple of things I wanted to mention to you, Ruffy, before we get on to the Europa League matches. One, of course, is the brand new haircut. It's a bit radical for you. What happened there?
It's a 70 look. It's a new 70. You know, it's the new 70s coming in tomorrow.
Is that the 70s, the decade, or the 70s? It's your birthday tomorrow?
My birthday is tomorrow, so the hairdresser, as we all know, thought he would, have a free licence because it was my birthday. So I said, yeah, if Tom McManus can come in with that hairdo, I can. I can do it.
They're shocking.
When I go into the hairdressers, none of this hair lacquer stuff and any of this, blowing it dry. Just leave it. I'll wash it when I get home and it'll sort itself out. So I'm not into all that. I'm standing in front giving it all that.
To be fair, it's an unusual radical step for you. For the benefit of people who listen to the programme on the podcast, I can only say that's the shortest I've ever seen your hair, because having looked at so many different pictures of you down through the years, the mullet has stayed through thick and thin, through good moves and bad moves in football.
Yeah, I just left it to our hairdresser, and I don't want to say on air because I know he watches, but he has.
Say his name, gave him a bit of compliment.
Robin Callender is our hairdresser.
He's a good hairdresser.
We all go there. Well, some of us do.
Also,
Charlie goes there.
To be fair, I tried to get a wee trim before at one of the games, and he patched me.
Yeah, just due to the fact I've got 10 minutes, mate. Can you do anything?
I know. Does it take a lot of shave ass, does it?
The other thing I was going to say to you, Ruff, is that, I mean, you've got the PLZ Maestro top, which is obviously on sale in the shop, but under it, is that a Partick Thistle top, or is it?
No, it's a tennis top.
It's a tennis top. Okay,
it's one of these Superman tops that really
makes you bigger,
makes you look fantastic. It was the club championships last week, so I thought I'd sort of just try and put the guys off.
Did you win?
No,
battered. It's the worst time ever, but that's what happens when you dump your best player. The other thing I was going to say to you, Ruffy, is it's your birthday tomorrow, and I'm sure everybody will wish you a happy birthday. 70 years is incredible. You look fantastic for being 70, I have to tell you, despite your morbid attitude a couple of weeks ago. What about the favourite year? If we gave you a DeLorean car, a flux capacitor, and the ability to program in a year where you would go back to, which year would it be? And I don't want a year that will offend your wife or anybody or your kids. Just a year that you thought I thoroughly enjoy it. I thought I'd put that rider in there at the start just to kind of save you.
No, I had an experience before I met my wife. When I came out of school, I was going out with this lassie.
Is there any year in football? No year.
Put 78.
78?
My first World Cup was just fantastic. It was unbelievable. And we also beat England at Wembley that year as well, so that was a good year.
78 was a good year, Fantastic. What age would you have been then, roughly? About 28, 20?
26.
Any stories off the pitch?
Fantastic, Melt, That's called the second autobiography. The first one was absolutely murder. Everybody was lovely in it. There was all these likeable things that happened.
It's when you think, when somebody heard you're bringing out a book and people like Souness and Dalglish phone you and go, don't.
Exactly. Anyway, we've got to look forward to British clubs involved in the Europa League. We'll talk about Champions League as well, but here's the fixtures that we can look forward to as far as the Europa League is concerned. Bayer Leverkusen, Celtic, Rangers against Sparta Prague, Leicester City against Legia Warsaw, and Rapid Vienna against West Ham United, which will not have any West Ham fans. They've obviously been banned from travelling to that match. As far as Leverkusen and Sparta Prague, our reporter Gabriel Antoniazzi has a look at the opposition for Rangers and Celtic.
Rangers and Celtic head into matchday 5 of the Europa League with the knockout stages in their sights, but very different tasks at hand. Celtic travel to Bayer Leverkusen for the early kick-off at the 30,000-seater Bayer Arena, and they know they must realistically get a point to have a chance of progression if Real Betis beat Ferencvaros in Spain as expected in the group's other match. It is a big ask, considering Leverkusen ran the hoops ragged in Glasgow, emerging 4-0 winners 2 months ago. The Germans are unbeaten in their last 3 and only need a point to progress, but they did suffer a wobble in October, going on a 5-game winless run which left them 4th in the Bundesliga, and Celtic will hope to exploit their weaknesses. Keep an eye out for former Celtic help Jeremy Frimpong and wonderkid winger Florian Wirtz, who will certainly have a say. Rangers' task is a lot more simple, despite only having 4 points in Group A. They're joint second, level with Thursday's opponent Sparta Prague, and they know a victory by a 2-goal margin at Ibrox will secure their progression, as long as Brøndby don't beat Lyon elsewhere. However, it is of course Giovanni Van Bronckhorst's first game in charge, and Sparta ran out 1-0 winners when these two met earlier in the season. Sparta are off the pace in the Czech League, having lost 2 of their last 3, and they have injury concerns as well, meaning 19-year-old Adam Hlozek will shoulder the attacking burden. But Sparta showed they can get results on Scottish soil last campaign as they thumped Celtic 4-1. Thursday night promises to be a pivotal evening for both sides in their quest for the knockout stages.
Well, let's get the thoughts of the guys. Bayer Leverkusen against Celtic is the early kick-off, 5:45. Celtic are sitting third in the group, Ruffy. They could go into second, but it involves, I think, a huge turnaround elsewhere as well, because if they defeat Leverkusen in Germany and Real Betis drop points to Ferencváros, that is a permutation which could push Celtic into second place. Are you buying into it?
No, I'm not buying into it at all. Obviously, Celtic got thumped in the first game. He'll be looking for some kind of improvement. I think Celtic have improved for that first game. I don't think they've improved enough. You know, this was a quality side, and I know Hugh was saying he's seen them, didn't he?
Yeah.
He wasn't that impressed with them, but I think they're still head and shoulders. In European style football, I think they're still head and shoulders above Celtic.
Yeah, well, they are unbeaten in the last 14 Europa League group stage games, which doesn't fill you with confidence. And if you have a look at the table, Tam, I think it's fairly self-explanatory that Celtic will be doing well if they could suddenly get a huge twist of fate to put them into second.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you would expect Real Betis to beat Ferencváros in the other game, so Celtic need to take something to try and keep it alive going into the last game, but I don't see Celtic getting anything in Germany. They're a quality side. I think they're sitting fourth in the Bundesliga, and you know, if Celtic can go there and compete, and even a draw would be a fantastic result, but I don't see it. Celtic have improved, but they've not improved that much.
Yeah, well, Celtic might be on that good 9-game unbeaten run in all competitions. They've got Cameron Carter-Vickers, one booking away from suspension. Stephen Welsh is available after injury. Tom Rogic is also available for the weekend, maybe struggling for this one. Starfelt's not available until the following weekend. So that's an update on the players that he's got at his disposal. He's certainly got the likes of James Forrest to call on, who was a hero against St Johnstone. I think Ange Postecoglou himself is relishing the game, despite the fact they're up against it, because it's the better teams that really will test Celtic.
You can learn absolutely nothing if you go out there and shy away from it. You know, we can go out there and sort of be conservative and try and hold on and try and survive, and I think you learn nothing. All you learn is that really you're inferior and you don't believe you can be any better. The only way we'll learn something tomorrow night is if we go out there and take the game to them. That's when we'll learn, and that may be a painful lesson for us all, but ultimately it's a better way to find out.
I mean, I like his attitude, Charlie. The only way you find out is if you take the game to him. He's not for turning on his ethos and how he wants the game played.
No, he has a way of playing, and he won't go away from that. In Scotland, he might get away with certain things, but in Europe, you get punished so much more. And this is a big test. Listen, Leverkusen are the best team in the group, and you know, they got found out at Celtic Park, and if they don't defend the way they can do, they'll get the same result over in Germany. So this is a good Leverkusen team that are playing at a high level in Bundesliga, and I think it'll be a tough night for Celtic, but they're on a good run of form, they're playing well, the confidence is high, so you know, I think if this was going back before the turn of they started to play well, then there'd be a worry, but you know, Celtic will still have the confidence that they can go there and win, but it is a tough match for them.
Yeah.
I think like some Celtic supporters I speak, a lot of them would like to see that there is another plan. You know, if you're 2-0 up and you're 10 minutes away from half time, that you can change the style of play that sees out the game. They're still to prove that against the bigger sides, and I think if we could maybe show everybody that they can defend properly, then the future will be brighter.
Well, that's an interesting point, Charlie, because they were 2-0 up against Betis. I was thinking he's going to shut up shop, but he didn't.
I don't get it. Why change? Why put that mentality into the players to sit back and defend and get lazy when you're already 2-0 up and going for the game and keep going for the throat? Put the pedal down. be relentless with it, and that's what the best sides do. You don't see Man United going away from home and they go 1-0 up and sitting back and thinking, oh, well, job's done. No, we'll go for the next one. And that's what the top teams do. They go again, and you've got to have trust in your players that they can do it. It's not about, being able to sit back and defend well and all that. If you're 2-0 up, you should be able to still see the game. That's just bad decisions during the game from individual players that allow teams into the game. So, no, I think, like say, if Celtic, Rangers or whoever, you're 2-0 up, you've got to go again and keep going.
Well, it's an interesting. Listen, I hope we're all here 20 years from now when he's got the moustache, and the hair's a little grey at the side, and we're talking him through his European exploits as a manager to get that thought on. And I'm not so sure I agree with you on that, because it's fine if you've got those players that can execute that relentlessly and be disciplined and make those decisions. But I think as a manager, it's a game of chess at times. A manager will look and say, many a good manager will look and say, we're 2-0 up, we're away from home. Just take one person off, drop in. This is the new style. Drop in and play this if we, and then see if they can break you down. Or am I?
I'm going to agree with Charlie.
Yeah,
I'm going to agree with Charlie. I think you keep going for the throat. I mean, Celtic should have went 3-0 up in Betis. They missed a great chance. And I feel, it's an old cliche. Attack's the best form of defence at times.
Yeah, well, they get done in.
I know they did, but
they didn't have the players to execute his ethos.
But if they sit back, they could get beat anyway. If they sit back and sit in and sit with 10 men behind the ball, they just get opened up anyway. So for me, I'd agree with Charlie. I think he's got a way of playing, and he's not going to deviate away from that. He's going to just keep going for the throat, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0. He's going to be relentless. It's
difficult to talk about the game at Celtic Park because, quite simply, Celtic got absolutely hammered by Leverkusen. It was the early days of Ange Postecoglou and what he wanted to do. Cameron Carter-Vickers certainly thinks Leverkusen just caught Celtic out every time they went up the park on the counter.
I think if you look at a lot of their goals in the 4-0 defeat, they scored a lot on the counter. And I think that's something that obviously we've looked at, and we're going to try and fix tomorrow. I think it's just a bit, maybe when we have the ball, our organisation behind it. But like I said, we've looked at that, and that's something we're going to try and do tomorrow.
He's been all right since he came up, Ruffy.
Yeah, that Charlie again will know more about him than us, but he didn't look like a centre half when he came up, and he didn't look that physical. But he certainly reads the game well. He's playing with better players, and he's come in and he's showed his experience. And I think he's been a success. Particularly, he's come under the same circumstances as he's not had a regular guy beside him. It's always been him or him or him. So, whatever he's done since he's been up here, I think it's been very good.
Yeah, Philip says, and I'm going to read Philip's out because it's filled with optimism, and I'm not knocking you for it, Philip. I just think, there are times when we've got to try and offer the balance and insight into fans and what they think. He said, Scottish teams are due something against Leverkusen. I think Celtic might get something. Now, that's Philip's take on it. Stephen McNeil says Celtic will win. Okay, I'm in the camp where I think they're on for another hefty doing. I think they could lose by a couple. What about you?
I'm looking for some kind of improvement, particularly defensively away from home, and getting beat, 1 or 2-0 might be seen as an improvement. But I mean, when I was watching that Betis game, I couldn't believe they were 2-0 up. I couldn't see that ever. Yeah. Away from home. So football's a funny thing. Sometimes things happen on the night. Take your chances. But
no, you guys are just getting it for the last year. I've had that for 10 years.
So
it's funny.
The point I'm trying to make is 2-0. If it was a good performance,
yeah, you're happy with that?
I think they would be. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you going 2-0 Leverkusen?
No, I'm going to go 1-0.
Okay. 1-0. The logic in you is unbelievable, Charlie.
I just think Leverkusen would be too strong away from at home. I think Celtic will come up short, but I don't want to say a score result.
No, go on, Charlie. It'll be good fun.
3-0.
3-0. That's good. Because
Leverkusen, is that?
Did you need to ask? No, because. Well, hold on. Don't unnerve him, because we're still to go back to him for the Charlie predictor on transfer fees. That's coming up, Charlie. Yes. Get your finger in your head. That's coming. I love it when Charlie gives a price on a player to you because everybody goes mental.
The David Dickinson of the football world. He sets the prices.
Exactly. Tam?
I think it'll be 4-2 to Leverkusen.
4-2?
Yeah, I think Celtic's got a couple of goals, but the way they play, they're going to lose goals. So 4-2.
Okay, well listen, if it's tough for Celtic out in Germany, it's certainly going to be tough for Rangers at home against Sparta Prague. But they've got a new manager, Giovanni van Bronckhorst, is saying to all the players, hey, it's a fresh start.
I think they're ready. Of course, it's a new start for them as well, with me coming in as the new manager. So of course disappointed from the result in the weekend, but all we do is look positive to the game we play tomorrow.
Yeah, it is a fresh start. It's a chance for players to really impress the manager. European performances, I think, are where Rangers got a lot of credit under Steven Gerrard. It'll be interesting to see. He's not going to have a major impression. He's going to obviously want them. I think the emphasis from him is to keep things tight. He doesn't want those defensive lapses that he watched against Hibs.
Well, they've been shipping goals, majority of the season, early, allowing teams a goal of a start, and it's only, you can only go for so long doing that, and then you don't get away with it. So, like you said, first and foremost, the game will be about keeping clean sheets, and then Rangers have got enough quality going forward to attack and to go and win games and create chances, but it's defensively it'll be a worry for him because of the amount of goals that they have shipped. So he'll look to tighten up, and they'll be hoping that his forward front players, Hadji, Kent, Roof, Wright, can create enough for Morelos to score goals.
Yeah, as far as Morelos is concerned, both Morelos and Sakala are one booking away from a suspension, so they certainly don't want them to get involved in any altercations. Sparta Prague have proved to be a difficult nut to crack at the best of times. They're good technically, Tam.
They're a good side, and Rangers will need to be at their best, I feel, to win this game. What I'm looking forward to seeing is what team he picks. Van Bronckhorst, I know he didn't take the team at the weekend, but he watched the game. And there was a few people that were miles off it. Ryan Kent, miles off it. Morelos, miles off it. So I wonder if he'll mix it up a wee bit and maybe bring in boys. Tavernier might play Patterson, so there's a lot of big calls to be made from Van Bronckhorst, and I'm sure the Rangers supporters will be interested to see what team, basically his first team that he picks. But I think Rangers might just edge it. I think they'll get a great atmosphere at Ibrox, his first game there, and I think they'll maybe just edge it 1-0.
Yeah, they need to win by 2 clear goals to seal qualification to the last 32. If you listen to the manager, and let's listen to him now again. Obviously, he knows exactly what Sparta Prague, are going to offer.
It's a very short time, only 2 days when I train with the players, but I think they can already sense the things what I want to change, and I think what needs to be needed to become successful again.
Well, and listening to the whole press conference, the emphasis was on shoring up. I think he's going to try and keep it, I think, tight, while hoping that the more gifted players can produce that little moment of magic, but it's not certainly going to be gung-ho.
No, and Rangers at home, with the crowd behind them, have got 2 goals in them. Certainly not on the evidence of the weekend. So you've got to, I would think they'll concede. So it means they've got to score 3. Have they got 3 goals in them in Europe? I don't think they have.
It's amazing, Ruffy. They've only won 2 of the last 10 fixtures.
Yeah.
So the form has kind of not been as good as it once was.
Yeah, and it's all. When they score late on, and anybody scores late on, people say, oh, this team don't know when they're beat, which is fair enough, but it means you're not playing well for the rest of the game. Sure, you're taking the win and you're taking everything that goes with it, but they haven't been convincing, and I'm not convinced that they can beat this team with 2 goals.
Well, so on that point, Charlie, have a look at the group here, because, I've got a sneaky feeling like Tam, that Rangers just might edge this by the odd goal.
No, I think Rangers will win the game. It's just like you say, if he's had enough time to work on with them defensively, losing goals and having that setback, let's say they can only go on for so long. So hopefully he's had enough time, and let's say we're expecting changes. He'll make, but I don't know how many he'll make, but he will be looking to change it up, and let's say it'll be interesting to see who he goes with and who he trusts for now to January.
Yeah.
The thing is as well, Peter, 1 clean sheet in 10 for Rangers. Look at them last season. They never conceded a goal last season. 1 clean sheet in 10. They're shipping goals for fun.
Is that because Helander has been a big loss to them?
Possibly. Yeah, I think he was very good last season beside Goldson. So, but even the goalkeeper McGregor's no making the big saves. So I'd be concerned if Sparta Prague score. I think they could possibly score.
If you were a manager coming in and you'd listened to what Golson had to say after the Hibs game, would you be sitting down having a wee word with him?
Yes, I'd be disappointed in him. And as a group of players, I would be disappointed in him as well, because then that's being weak. And people say 3-1 down. You're Rangers Football Club. You're at the biggest club in Scotland. You're one of the biggest clubs in the world. Doesn't matter if you're 4-0, you still have that empathy to go and try and win the game. Listen, if Rangers scored within the next 5 minutes of the second half and it's 3-2, it's game on. So to have that mentality to go and change and say, 3-1, game was over, I'm not buying it. But sometimes you say things and you'll regret them, and he might regret it, and we'll see tomorrow if the manager picks him.
Yeah, I'll tell you the other thing about it that again has been a disappointment at times in Europe for a lot of fans who want to go. The final game against Lyon, it could be a howitzer. Certainly the fans would like to go to it. Still waiting on confirmation if they're going to be allowed to go there. There's 3,000 tickets for that game in December 9th, Ruffy, but that's hanging in the balance. They're still playing domestic games behind closed doors. I think it looks unlikely that Rangers will get fans over there.
Yeah, I think the way things are going in Europe, just even surrounding France, by the time that game comes round, I think they will pull the plug in it, which is a shame for the supporters. They always like travelling away. Doesn't matter where you are, it's something to look forward to, and it'd be really disappointing if they're not allowing any fans.
Yeah, and of course they're right behind the 8 ball after the weekend, because I think Dimitri Payet was hit with a bottle, so they're going to play domestic games behind closed doors as well, because that match was abandoned.
Yeah, it's a shame for Rangers fans. It's just, because Scottish fans in general like to go abroad, and travel and watch their team in Europe. And I think the COVID infections rate is up in France as well. So no, I think it's very unlikely that you see any Rangers fans over there.
Well, it'd be great when we eventually do this football show and we're not even mentioning a pandemic or COVID again. It'd be great if we never mention that again in the next year, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, aye.
Yeah, absolutely. And is the haircut anything to do with COVID, Tam? Is that to fend off any kind of infection?
No, I just went for a wee sweep over the day in tribute to my big pal Ruffy. He's got his...
Yeah, Fleck. Absolutely. Two new haircuts. One palatable and the other one taking a bit of getting.
He's my mentor. He's my mentor.
Taking a bit of getting used to. Charlie, of course, a lot of people are talking, and I'm trying to think. My memory, the pundit who said it, talking about Morelos, he needs to get himself.
Who was it?
No, it was in the news in the last 24 hours. Morelos needs to get his acting gear. I think he needs to step up to the plate and start to find a bit of form for Rangers scoring goals again, the way we know he can score goals, to get his feet up, because this is a boy who I think we were talking about it. Hugh mentioned the fact that there was a £16 million bid there that Rangers said no to, and he's well away from that, unless you're going to tell me differently.
No, I think he is miles away from it, and maybe the hunger is gone from him, and he has to find that burning desire in his belly again to ignite something, because he's the focal point now when he's up there scoring the goals, scoring all the goals in Europe, when he's playing well and he's throwing people around and bullying them and playing off the shoulder. He is a handful and a threat, so Rangers will be hoping they can get back to that sooner rather than later. New manager coming in might just have to tell him a few harsh words, and that might just ignite something, and hopefully it does for Rangers.
Yeah, is he the type of boy that they might cash in January? There's a feeling that maybe some clubs will be hovering for a few of the players. What sort of fee? Come on, you might as well. Come on, we love you for it, Charlie. That's one of the great things about this.
Nah, listen, because he's a goal scorer, yep. I think he'll get interest. I don't know what you're talking, 6-8 million maybe.
Yeah, it's a considerable drop, isn't it?
It is. He's not been at the level,
exactly.
And that's the way it goes.
Yeah, he needs to go and score goals for Rangers. Just get the bit between his teeth, as Charlie said. Okay, fingers crossed on this one. I had a win. You had a
draw.
Win. A draw.
Yeah.
A draw in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think Rangers will edge it 2-1.
I think Rangers will edge it 1-0.
1-0.
I think I'll edge it 1-0 or 2-1.
Okay.
That's not enough, you're saying?
No, it's not enough.
No, it's not enough. No. So it's going to be down to the wire. Do you want to see the group table again, just to clarify it all?
Quite happy. I'll take your word for it.
Okay. So you can give us your views on that as well. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, you'll get all the notifications. I know, Tam, don't worry about it. Honestly, swings. He's like, he's the only way I can actually sum up. I should have got my sentence out before I let you in there. He's a cockerel. When there's a wind, he'll swing with it. Now, I don't know about this, Charlie, and guys, your thoughts on it. I think Funso Ojo. We know now that his yellow card can't be rescinded, but there's an alleged attack on a fan, which has really got him in trouble as well. I thought he was going to be able to take the moral high ground, Funso Ojo, on this. Sometimes players are provoked.
But who did he attack?
Well, this is...
He never even went anywhere near the guy.
This is outside after the game. This is a bust-up. This is after it we find out there's another follow-up to this. I mean, I know sometimes players are... at times, under close scrutiny, sometimes they're baited by fans
all the time.
Who really try and annoy them, and sometimes you just lose it. And I don't know. I do not see Funso Ojo as one of those inflammatory players. Do you, Ruffy?
No, I mean, I don't know the guy at all, but I think the restraint that he showed in the stadium was enough for me to say that. He could be able to handle it outside, but I don't know the circumstances. I don't know, what's happened, whether he's somebody.
Well, he's signing autographs for Aberdeen fans. And apparently, Dundee United fans are giving him, allegedly giving him pelters, and something happened from there. Sometimes you've got to be able to listen to your captain, your manager, and say, look, these type of things happen. Stay calm. Don't get involved.
Yeah, no, I think especially with what's gone on previously on the pitch and getting sent off. You've got to try and keep your head down. The red card's bad enough. I know it's not his issue to get the red card, but off the pitch, we've all been there, that you've had a bit of dog's abuse and it goes over too far.
Yeah.
You've just got to bite your lip and get on the bus and get on with it and move on. And unfortunately for him, there's an incident that's happened, and it just escalates the whole thing into a police matter that probably Aberdeen wouldn't have wanted.
Yeah, you seem to be the one guy, Charlie, who gets belters.
I enjoy it.
Well, I was just about to say to you,
I enjoy it.
You kind of a look and just treat it for what it is, and not. When you say you enjoy it, you can take the banter as long as somebody doesn't become.
No, if it's physical, like you say, that supporter pushed him, or it was something like that outside the ground, that's maybe a little bit different. But if somebody's giving you a bit of stick and saying things. You sign the autographs, get on the bus, and you laugh, and you've got to laugh it off. And if it goes over the top, speak to somebody inside the football club that you're not happy with, and they can deal with it.
Yeah, perfect way to do it. You must have had a fair few pelters, Tam, in your time.
I did, and you're talking about Dundee United. We parked in the car park just in the middle of the stadium. The middle of the two stadiums is the car park. Don't know if it's still there now. And I get sent off against Dundee United, and I was coming out and walking to my car, and there was two Dundee United fans giving me dog's abuse, and proper dog's abuse. And I looked at him and I went, don't think I could take the two of them myself. So I kept my head down and walked to the motor. Yeah. But it's difficult because you're wanting to react, and if it depends on what the guys were shouting to on Ozil, then he's maybe well within his rights.
But everybody has a different breaking point.
Yeah.
Everybody's different. Everybody that no two people are the same. You either I can take this or I can't take it, and then they maybe go too far, and you have to say, look, I can't let him away with that.
Yeah, if I was Tam though, I would have waited till I get in the car, rolled the window down, and then drove a wee bit, and then
I done that. Me and my dad done that. Everett's one day, and the lights went red, and I'm doing that again.
I did that. I remember. You weren't with us that way. It was a Rangers Celtic game, and we came out of the game, and it was hospitality. We were going back to Mortimer's place. Yeah. But we had the limos were taking us all back, but the traffic was unbelievable. So we decided to go and get a taxi ourselves. Yeah. So we walked away from Hampden. The traffic got worse, and we're sitting and we're standing waiting, trying to get a taxi. And the Rangers bus came back and stopped. And they're all batting the window and shouting out and all that. Yeah. And but I just did something funny. To tell them nothing outrageous, thinking the bus will drive away a wee minute. The bus never moved. For 15 minutes it just sat there.
Yeah, not an advisable thing to do at a Celtic Rangers match. Keep your head down and just keep walking. Simple as that. Anyway, listen, we'll see how that all pans out. As far as other players who potentially could be on the move, everybody's talking about John Souttar because of his performances of late, Tam. Suddenly there's a feeling that he might not look towards Celtic or Rangers, head down south, wee bit more money in the Championship. He might go in the January window despite Hearts pulling out all the stops.
Yeah, I think his performance for Scotland is, that was him done at Hearts for me. Any chance of him signing a new deal at Hearts was done with that performance.
Yeah.
On the highest level, international level, against a top team. He was scored the winner and kept a clean sheet. A great game. And I'm sure Championship teams would have went, listen, maybe Swithern, nah, we'll try and get him. And I think for a boy he's done his Achilles twice, he's probably looked at it and went, I could be finished.
I think he's on his third.
His third Achilles. Yeah. He's probably thinking to himself, I'm done. I could be finished here. What am I going to do next? And for him to battle back for that and possibly at the peak of his career go and get a right good deal, right good money for him and his family, I think he's well within his rights to go down to England and get as much money as he can.
Well, can I ask you this, Charlie? How much would that hamper any kind of medical and clubs looking at him and saying, you've had 3 Achilles injuries, we're looking at it on the X-ray here, we've got every part of your body scrutinised?
Well, it's up to the club then to take that decision. The doctors, physio, the owner of whoever's going to buy him. Because in January there's obviously going to be a transfer fee, so it's how much they're having to pay for him in January. So it's, John probably in a situation now will be thinking, I want to get it done in January, and Hearts will be thinking, worst case scenario, we'll take it to the summer and allow him to leave on a free. Yeah,
that doesn't do any favours for Dundee United. They've got a 10% sell on.
That's football and deal with that. So, but if I'm Hearts, I'm thinking, we need you to the summer. We've been loyal to you through your injuries. Give us a bit of loyalty back to the end of the season. But John will be thinking, hold on a minute, I'm one injury again away from injury. Look at his brother Harry, who was away for the national team in Australia, and he ended up doing his cruciate. So,
and the other thing about loyalty here is, if he did stay with Hearts until the end of the season, and then in the last couple of games done his cruciate,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that's what he has to make that decision about being loyal and things like that. And Hearts will be trying to play on that way. We supported you through that. But sometimes as a football player, you've got to think, right, what am I going to do? What's best interest for me? And if it is January, there's going to be a host of clubs. I think the performance for Scotland's probably accelerated that, and I'd like to see him get a good move and hopefully he makes the right decision.
Who was the Hearts centre half that went to Rangers and it never worked out?
Saliukas?
Paul Ritchie. Centre half. Was it Paul Ritchie? It was only about a couple of months he was there. And I remember them signing and it just never happened for him.
Well, Andy Webster.
No, Andy was there a wee while. I think it's Paul
Ritchie, because basically it was Dick Advocaat going through the whole gamut of, I've signed this guy and he can't play football, I've signed him and he can't do. I mean, I think as soon as
he'd have squatted about 40, didn't he?
Not only that though, but I don't know who was signing the players, Charlie, but Colin Hendry came in. Woof, he just did not fancy him at all. Right. I can remember, Dick Advocaat saying,
David Murray maybe signing the players.
Oh, who knows? Who knows who was signing at the time? But certain players were coming in, Ruffy, and they were quickly jettisoned if they didn't play the way Dick Advocaat wanted them to play.
Yeah, there was certainly a fair turn around, but he certainly eventually had some quality players there that obviously won the trophies.
I don't think eventually. I think, as Tam said, he could have had 2 buses to a game. It was unbelievable. Now, Charlie, we're finally at the point where I know you don't want to. I know this. You weren't going to look forward to it, but the story is that the bonus has been agreed. So, how do I phrase this question to you? All well in the camp, deal done, move on, or what?
No, just move on. It's agreed, it's sorted. We move on, and we need to start winning football matches to get these bonuses. That's how it is. So hopefully we can do that on Saturday. A lot of games in December, and if we win a few games, we'll get the bonuses. So it's taking its time, and the tit for tat that everything thought was going on. The lads were, trying to negotiate, and it happened, and now we're there, and we move on.
Yeah, it took a little longer than it should have.
Yeah. And I didn't know that rule in Scotland. Normally in England it's done the day before the season's finished.
Yeah.
But because it's in Scotland, you can take as long as you want, and it's always taking its time. But now, listen.
Does that thing affect the players? I know I've asked you before, but does it affect them, that the fact that bonuses are not sorted out ahead of time?
No, listen. Every club would want it to be sorted. You want to be recognised for winning games and things like that. So. It's taken longer than what we expected, but we've done to a point okay at the moment without it being signed. So hopefully now it's signed, you know, we might get a few decent results and performances and picking up, so we'll see where it goes.
Especially Christmas coming up, a few extra quid.
Yeah, well, to be fair, Tam, let's be blunt about it. If Dundee go on a 9-game unbeaten run, the bonus,
money grabbers.
The bonus has been, well, they're not the first in Dundee. I mean, you know, listen, you only have to look at some of the Dundee United players that I've interviewed. I mean, I remember Morris Malpass, just basically in a 1-to-1 with Morris, said to me, our basic wage was poor. But by the time the bonus was kicked in, we were on the equivalent
doubled up every game they won.
But they were on Celtic and Rangers wages. He says it was that good because the great incentive for them is they're going out, and if you've got Paul Sturrock playing for you, you've got Hegarty, you've got Neri, you've got Richard Gough on the side at that point when they won the league, Ruffy.
Yeah, but
players when they sign up for that.
You'd rather have it signed off at the start.
Yeah,
I think signed. I mean, the days of old when I played, when the manager would come in and say, if we were playing Celtic, if they'd say, right, if you get there and beat them the night, we'll see you okay. It never happened.
Yeah.
It never will see you all right to the expectations of we knew in black and white what it was to beat Celtic.
Did you not have a strong enough captain in Alec Ray to sit down and say...
Don't start Alec off and that, for God's sake. Alec was batting the manager's door down nearly every day.
Yeah.
Alec was a big trade union guy and he wanted everything done by the book, nothing hanging about, and he did everything in black and white.
Yeah, well, the good news is Dundee have got that sorted out, and it's a massive game against Motherwell.
Huge. I think it's big 2 games, Motherwell St Johnstone, Saturday, Wednesday, at home. You know, so
could this transform your season? Do you get that sense?
Yes, I think these 2 games will kick us on for the rest of the season. We go to Ibrox next Saturday, and you know, it's a great game to go, big stadium, you know, but you take care of these 2 home games first and we'll see where we are. It's like Ruffy said before, it's not about what's coming behind you, you've got to look forward, and if we can get points at these 2 games, it'll get us further up the league.
Yeah, okay, fingers crossed for that, Charlie. Let's look at last night's Champions League. A lot of European football, we've discussed the Europa League, but what about the Champions League? Well, there are the results. Dynamo Kiev won Bayern Munich 2. It was 0-0 between Barcelona and Benfica. Man United, Ronaldo, he just continues to amaze. I watched that game, it was an absolute joy. Young Boys 3-3 with Atalanta. Seville beat Wolfsburg. And I think this one here, Lille beat Salzburg by a 1-0. Malmo Zenit was 1-1. And then Chelsea, I watched later on. Chelsea were outrageous, Tam, in their 4-0 win over Juventus.
Yep, watched it. So strong at the minute. What a performance. Juventus are a top team. They've absolutely battered them. You know, give them a doing, and you know, they had a lot of big guns on the bench. Looking ahead to a big game at the weekend. So
I think they could win the double.
I think Chelsea could win everything under Tuchel. Honestly, I think they're so strong. Their squad now is so strong. You know, Lukaku on the bench last night, so they've got guys coming into the team. Hudson-Odoi, guys like that. You know, they're playing well, and you know, they look very, very strong this season, Chelsea.
Yeah, as far as United are concerned, Ruffy, if any pundit questions Ronaldo as a signing, and I've read some talking about the fact that it may well have destabilised the way Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted his team to play. But if it wasn't for Ronaldo, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wouldn't have had a plan to play.
No, and you think modern day teams, I'm not saying they don't like a luxury player who doesn't turn it on week in, week out. With him, you know he's going to turn it on at some stage. You know, it might not be the first half, it might be 10 minutes for the end in the second half, but you know at the end of the day you're going to get something out of him, and he's exciting to watch, and that's why they brought him there, and that's why we all like watching him as well, because he keeps coming up with the goods.
But I don't agree with it. I don't think he's a luxury player, because I speak to Dan Fletcher and he says to me he trains the best at anybody, day in, day out. He's there before everybody, last to leave, doing different things, and lads are sitting watching him and he's training different things, and yeah, he just picks and chooses when he needs to run in the game. He's 36, doesn't he need to be going and doing 12k? That's experience of knowing it, and it's not being a luxury player. He delivers on the big stage, and I just think that's what it all matters to him, is I'm delivering on the big stage. So
when he's around the 18-yard box, Charlie, you don't even need to tell him where the goal is. Last night was a prime example.
But that's what you're paying for, and you need that. And like you said, if Ronaldo wasn't there, Ollie would have been out 2 months ago. Yeah. So it's to say he's a luxury player, I think is incredible. You know, he's a top player. He's one of the best we've ever seen, and United are lucky to have him. And still, producing the goods at the age he's at.
Scored in every game, hasn't he?
Yeah, every Champions League game, he's been
See,
unbelievable.
is that other Ian? Has he got it in his contract? He's got to score in every game.
Who's the other Ian?
Lewandowski. Because every time I look at they've scored a goal, I don't even have to look at who scored because it's him.
He's a machine, isn't he?
It's just incredible. Every game.
I think a lot of people maybe were wondering would anybody at Bayern Munich, shatter Gerd Muller's records, but he is just blistering. He's battering his way through every record.
That's why I don't want Poland.
Yeah, same here, Ruffy. I don't want Poland either. That's why I don't want Poland. Of course, as far as Man United are concerned, Michael Carrick says, these are the games that tell you who's with you, who's going to battle for United.
In kind of situations like this where there's mixed emotions and we'll find ourselves like this, then it kind of tests people. You find out the real characters and who's there with you, who's not. And I thought everyone stuck together fantastically well. So in terms of supporting me and my staff and the players, we managed to get the win, which is very pleasing because it was a big one.
The big question is who's going to be the Man United manager. I mean, I know quite a few former players, Steve Bruce throwing in and saying, I'll be the interim manager until you pick one. Some people are talking about Pochettino. Pochettino, I think, has distanced himself a wee bit from all the talk about he's going to be the next man.
I am so happy in Paris Saint-Germain. And, I am focused and to try to give my best like we are doing. I was a player in Paris Saint-Germain. I love the club. I love the fans. I think it's a fantastic time to be on the club.
Yeah, I love the club. I love the fans. But I love the fact that I'll be on a whacker of money at Man U.
They're going for nothing. He was at a job for ages when he left Tottenham. And now they're going to pay 10 million for him. That's mental. Man United, they're just run into the ground at the top.
I can't believe that they're thinking about interim managers. What's that club coming to?
No, they can't be. They cannot be thinking about it. Like I hear everybody saying, if Pochettino's the one they want and they have to go and pay 15 million for him, go and pay it. You have to just go and do the deal and get him out there. Because how it sounds is that Pochettino wants to come back to England. His family are in London and he wants to come back to the Premier League. So go and do the deal. Listen, Ed Woodward, whoever's in control of that, will have spoke to his agents and is he interested? Yes, okay, well, let's go and get it done. Yeah. But at the moment, it seems to be Man United are dilly-dallying over everything at the moment, and it's becoming a longer process than it should be. Yep, okay. As far as your eyes tonight on European football, what game will you be watching? Here are the fixtures that we have to cast our eye over. Man City against PSG, Bruges against Leipzig, Atletico Madrid, AC Milan, Liverpool, Porto, Besiktas, Ajax, Sporting Lisbon, Dortmund, Inter Milan, Shakhtar Donetsk, and Sheriff against Real Madrid. So there's only one game. There's only one game in town. Ruffy, is there only? I should be watching. I should be watching Liverpool, but for the first time, I know I got these there. Yeah,
only one game in town. I like that. To the Sheriff.
He does them all now. He's doing gags.
New gag for his thing,
I know. By the way, who am I to criticise? Because after his laughing escapade, one Hibs fan sent him a video of me hosting Hibs TV all those years ago in 1998.
I found the chat.
It's an absolute belter, isn't it?
It's a belter. 1997.
You can't believe it,
I
Ruffy.
Can't believe it's you.
Yeah. Was the Buffon the thing that you didn't like about me?
The first time I looked at it, I went, why is Daniel O'Donnell doing Hibs TV?
It does have that feel about it, Ruffy. You've got to take it in the chin.
To be fair, the Sheriff did beat Real Madrid in the Bernabeu, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe a wee bit of revenge coming now. But I think Man City, PSG is what I'm watching. You, Charlie?
Yeah, no, I was meant to be at the game.
Aye, okay, shut it.
He's had to spend an hour with us.
By the way, what a game it would have been. And of course, you were invited, and it sounds as if it would have been what Ruffy's ideal game.
Proper
starter, main course, sweet, a lot.
With the top boys at Man City would have been, but unfortunately can't make it.
No, of course, you've got to drive up, you've got the bonus sorted out now, you've got to put petrol in the car. Ruffy, are you Man City or PSG to win?
Oh, PSG.
To win?
All the way, yeah.
Yeah.
De Bruyne's out. There's a few people out in that Man City team, so...
You going PSG to win?
Yeah, I think the big three will come up with the goods in it.
Charlie?
No, I'm going Man City.
I'm going to go a draw.
I think it's going to be like 4-3 to Man City.
Is that right?
I think it's going to be goals galore. Tune in.
Fantastic. Okay, there you have it. Last word to Tam, as ever. Don't forget
satellite dish you got.
Yeah, exactly. Hit the subscribe button. Got that in my head there, and don't forget to hit the bell as well for all the notifications on PLZ Soccer. Thank you very much to all the people who are subscribing. Ruffy, we're heading in the right direction now. People are realising we're on weekdays, 4 o'clock live. You can watch it on your app, PLZ Soccer, if you download it, but you can also, as you know, if you're on Sky, you can just go down to apps, click into YouTube and put in PLZ Soccer.
Yeah, and as you know, the more and more people I meet when I'm out doing my shopping, you know, there's more and more people tuning in and enjoying every minute of it with the guys that are on. But preferably when I'm on every day, you know, that's the days to watch.
And if you don't get a chance to see us on PLZ Soccer's YouTube, don't forget, if you roam around Tesco and Waitrose, Ruffy's there for about 8 hours, just hovering.
Maggie does the shop for you.
No, he hovers just with a trolley with nothing in it. Simple as that.
Reach that shelf, I'll just help you.
And on that note, thanks for watching. Goodbye.